Thanks. Decades after a young couple was found murdered in West Springfield, investigators now believe they know who is responsible. And today, we're learning more details about how they were able to finally crack the case.
Western Mass News reporter Reagan Lokri attended a press conference at the Hampden District Attorney's office this morning. She joins us outside the courthouse with more on how investigators were able to make this arrest over 4 decades later. Reagan?
Well, Abby and Chris, it all came down to a tip and a fingerprint. On November 19th, 1978, the bodies of Teresa Marcoux and Mark Harnish were found just off Route 5 in West Springfield inside of a green 1967 Dodge pickup truck. The officer that found the truck saw the driver's side window of the truck was damaged and noticed blood in and around the vehicle. That's where he found the bodies of Mark and Teresa over a nearby guardrail with what looked to be gunshot wounds.
When investigators processed the pickup truck, they located a latent print in what appeared to be blood on the passenger vent window of the pickup. Mark and Teresa were eliminated as possible sources of this latent print. Over the years, as the investigation continued, this latent print was entered into the Massachusetts Automated Fingerprint Identification System, better known as AFIS, and was also manually compared to approximately 70,000 known fingerprint cards.
Until last month, when a call came into the district attorney's office with the name Timothy Jolie of Florida. It turns out Jolie was living in Springfield at the time. He had purchased a gun a month before the murder, and he had a fingerprint taken for a taxi cab application in Springfield back in 2000 that investigators were able to compare and match to the one found at the crime scene back in 1978. With this evidence, Hampden County District Attorney Anthony Gallooni was able to authorize an arrest, and now Timothy Jolie will be brought back to Massachusetts from Florida in the coming weeks to face charges. Reporting live in Springfield, Reagan Lokri for Western Mass News.